Jeff Richmond, composer and executive producer of Girls5eva. I talked to your cinematographer, John Inwood, recently, and he wanted me to tell you that you are, quote, a genius and really elevate the show with your music, end quote. So what do you have to say to that?
Well, I have to say that John is such a special person. John's great. He's our DP, and he is one of the best people to work with. And he's got great taste. He always works on great shows. He's working on our show, and he has forever. It's very kind words, and I don't believe them for a bit, but.
Every interview should start with compliments from your colleagues, I think.
That's a very nice, yeah, it's a nice move. That's a new one, actually. I like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking to Paula Pell later, so if you want me to pass on a message to her,
I will definitely do that. You know, I've known Paula for like 25 years, so I'll come up with something offbeat before we get out of here, maybe.
Okay, we'll circle back to at the end of this. But season 2, so many more songs this time around because they're in album mode. So what was it like? I'm assuming you knew that from beginning through Meredith Scardino. So how was your approach this season?
You know, our approach is last season we were in this place where we were bringing this girl group back from the late 1990s and the 2000s. So we knew that we'd be visiting a lot of their music from that time period. So we could go into TLC and Spice Girls and all these kind of familiar but old sounds and iconic kind of songs. And also we had a lot of the jokes that we would have back in those days, which were all these kind of girl power, empowerment kind of songs, but they were all still kind of inappropriate and sexist because that's the time period and a lot of them were by men. So in last season we had that, but this season, now that they're in album mode, and now that we know that the character of Dawn, who is played by Sarah Bareilles, is actually writing their album, we had to start thinking about what would they be doing today. And that's kind of the way we approached this season, looking at what we thought Dawn, as the character, as she is trying to stretch her legs as a songwriter, would be listening to, and who would she be trying to emanate as she was writing. So that was a different kind of palette, and it was very fun and enjoyable with everybody this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you basically have at least one song every episode. Like the first one, you have Momentum that she had already written. So why was that like I think you've said before that Meredith writes like the lyrics within her script, so she has like or lyric ideas.
Yeah.
So how is it like composing to Momentum?
Momentum was fun too. It was the first script back. I was also I directed that episode, so. Mm-hmm. There was a lot to juggle, and there was a lot of like pre-production. Do we have this song together? I have to film this song. I have to kind of write it. I have to work with Meredith. Momentum was interesting because that was the first one we did this year where we wanted to sound like of today. And I remember that the writers are very specific. Like, could it be like a Dua Lipa thing? Could it have kind of a nouveau disco kind of thing like her last album? So we kind of thought about it was going to be like that. And we knew we wanted to give it a good charge and a lot of energy because it was our first kind of anthemic driving song to come back with. But I remember it was a lot of fun. And then Meredith is always great to work with because she's a very good lyricist. I work with a lot of comedy writer lyricists. She is a joke machine, and a joke machine that can rhyme. So that's also fun. But she had a lot of great ideas and a good word game within that one. It was, that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also, they get to perform it as well, and that's when Gloria busts her knee. So a lot of physical comedy, part of the song as well.
Yes, and Paula had really gone through, this is another one of those things, had gone through knee surgery that summer. So that was all kind of baked into the pie that we were going to have to figure out a way, because we knew she was going to be limping a little bit, even though she thought she wouldn't be. So. And it made that episode really kind of a trick to direct too, because Paula's just back, she's getting better, she's got to do these things that we're supposed to see her knee being hurt, but all kinds of things. So there was a lot to kind of figure out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that led to the Percocet jingle when she's high on Percocet, and who knew it was an acronym for Pink-Eyed Rabbits Charging on Claws Eternally Tender.
Who knew? I mean, who knows what some of this stuff is, and some of it's very clinical, some of it's very medicinal, and that's just out the wall there. That's Meredith.
But that scene was great, and then you directed it because it like zooms in on her face. She's just kind of like dead-eyed and like high as a kite. So what was it like shooting that?
It was the end of end of a really long day in this loft, and it was like the last thing we did. So as when you're filming something, you have to make your day, and no matter what, they start shutting things down at a particular time. And we were like on the last 15 minutes, but we had gone through, we knew we were going to shoot this thing just like that. It was going to be this long zoom, and we worked with the grips and with John Inwood about this rig that the camera would sit on and would move on. So we built all this stuff, and we hauled it up 7 flights in this building where this loft set was at. But we just kind of all knew that the best real estate for something to just be funny was this song going on and just seeing Paula Pell's face, because it's hilarious. She doesn't have to do much, and yet she's doing a million things. And we got to do like, it was really late. We got to do like two or three takes of that sitting there, and that's all we needed. That's all we need. It's still one of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm. So simple yet so complicated behind the scenes.
It's a real complicated thing, because you have to like track, and there's a dolly, and there was a lot to work out before we did it. But it is true, like you look at it and you go, oh, they just pushed in on that. Mm-hmm. But the reality is it's a very big rig in order to pull that off. Mm-hmm. And then that one where she's being pulled forward with the camera while the ladies are in the background, and kind of rack focus on that thing. But that's all fun. And to Meredith's credit, it's in the script that we would do a long push. So it wasn't even like a director invented thing. I definitely wanted to be sure that we were following through with that. But
mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's not just like any regular like push, because it's like you have to capture that she's like high on Percocet too.
Absolutely. So she's got to perform it, and you're right, and which she does. She's high on Percocets, and in this crazy psychedelic songs going on in the background that she is singing. For a long time, it was me. Like a lot of these songs were on the floor. The demo is often me singing, which is hilarious in its own right, and not great, but just hilarious for whatever that is. Me singing girl anthems, but that was one for a long time, and we finally got her voice on it when we were finally in the final mix, and it's
great.
It's like a new thing. It's mm-hmm. like a whole new thing.
In the second episode, Dawn, she has written a song called Set that contains all 430 meanings of the word set. So how much of that song is actually written? Like,
oh my God.
all
Meredith the and I, we were talking about that song like even just 2 weeks ago, after saying, God, we should have written that whole song. We should. Because I think in the script, I think that was 9 minutes or something. It is supposed to be like 9-minute song went by, and Wiki says something, oh, that is a lot of room for riffs. Like there was everybody talking about how long the song was, which was a joke. We had to cut it out. We hardly ever have time to do the songs that we have to film. So to think about that, we also have to write the ones before we are off camera, but we did want to do it again. And that was because I was directing, and I had written the songs for the first episode, and then Sarah wrote that. So that's Sarah's melody and Sarah's hooks, along with Meredith's and another staff writer who I can't remember which one it was offhand. But Sarah sent that recording to me, and I thought, oh, this is so perfect. Sometimes those songs that Sarah writes are supposed to be kind of ridiculous and bad, but they're always almost too good. Like tone it down, Bareilles. It's got to sound.
I know you're just showing off now. Yeah, I like that line. I think it's in the 4th episode when they have to write a love song, and she's like, "I'm not going to write them a love song just because they asked for it." I'm like, genius. Who picked up on that? Tina
and I were talking about how she delivered that so
it's so quick,
so perfectly. It just happens. Yeah, but yeah, hilarious.
That episode, the 4th episode, has your Succession spoof. I love it. Business Throne. The theme sounds exactly like the Succession theme. You're Logan Roy.
That theme, because I'm a huge fan of that show, mm-hmm. and I'm a huge fan of the music of that show. And so when that came around, I go, oh God, what do we? I got to get close, but I can't get too close. If I get, I don't want to get in any legal trouble. So I changed the chord progression around, which I thought is just enough. I hope if somebody did that to a theme song that I had written, I would be like, thank you. That is
flattering.
right, such flattery. So I hope they take it that way. But yeah, that episode is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
it's so good because I don't want to see any footage from the show. Like that was just enough, like the theme and like the quotes.
And then just
like,
one really inappropriate line, and you just knew it. Yeah.
I know. So you should send that motif off to Nicholas Bertel and get his thoughts. And
I really should.
But that always like makes me think like is Wiki Roy related to the Roys?
Holy cow, that's amazing.
Is she like a distant cousin, like a cousin Greg?
Oh, it could be like like a cousin Greg from that line of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And then once removed.
Yeah.
God, you could only hope so, right? I mean,
there should be a season 3 plot line.
There should be. We should be doing one of these merging together episodes where
the crossover. So
right.
you have the music for it.
Yeah. He flies.
I love a lot of like the flashback songs and really a lot of like Kev's song. I love his ballad, Summer Brings the Fall.
Yes.
But then like the flashback one with him in Summer, like Can't Wait to Wait.
Can't wait to wait.
What was I like writing those for him?
Those are great. Those are whenever comes up in the script that it's going to be Kev, so Andrew Rannells. I'm just like, oh, I love it. Because he is the best. He makes everything super funny. Everything's funnier, and he's such a great singer. So, you know, he's going to be able to whatever it is. If it's this high thing, he's going to be able to riff and do things, and it's going to be so clear, and the words are going to be there, and he does them so quick. But to hear, we knew that Kevin's singing that song where he's just pouring his heart out, just dripping with emotion, was going to be hilarious, and it was. And then the one with him and Busy, that's just, I mean, that's his.
Yeah, because it's a flashback. It's an old one, and it's like on some like off-brand like Christian network.
Yeah, some kind of crazy, right, public, right, what do you call it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that was great too. And then we did go back because sometimes we have the shorter versions of songs for flashbacks, and then we get to when we're finishing the episodes off and we decide which songs we're going to write the full versions of, and we do that after the fact. So it's really tricky to re-engineer it. So we went back and we wrote the full version of what that song was.
So which ones did you write the full versions for besides that one?
Surprisingly, we had more full versions this year than we did last year, so we didn't have to go back to too many. But for Momentum, for sure we had, and then Can't Wait to Wait. There's a song coming up later. Well, it's the song When I Cry at a Movie, I'm Really Crying About Myself. It's that really big Adele ballad that Wiki sings, and we did a full version of that. Mm-hmm. But there's 8 or 9, 10 full versions of songs.
I love like because obviously you guys have like the silly songs, but I love the emotional songs too. Like in the 5th episode, their love song is actually a love letter to Ashley using her old voicemail like message at the beep, and it's really moving, like the scene, and it's actually one where the credits start playing over it because you don't want to like move away from it. So those are like working on that one.
That's one of my favorite songs this year. You know, last year when Meredith and I were talking, we got to the end of the season and we had done so many songs that were funny, and we were talking about everybody's such a good singer. Like everybody's there, and we should find ways next season as the characters grow and we start to feel more for them, and we know more of their histories and their relationships with each others and others and other people, that we should be sure to leave room to do some songs that have some real emotional weight to them, and that was one of them. And we even using words like we should give them some big notes to sing, you know, because they're all singers. Because we have Renee, Sarah, Busy, and Paul. Like they can all belt and do big things and with vocals. So that was one of them. And that one in particular was I just remember getting it right before the read through. We got the script, and that little line and Ashley's was in there, and I said, so we got to reverse engineer this thing from the song. And it came together really quickly right before the read through, and it pretty much was that simple. But it's always very simple until you get everybody into the and they're actually recording it, you know, either in the studio or on the set, and then they all make it sound, you know, 15 times more phenomenal. They sound so good on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, speaking of giving them more notes, on BPE, Big Pussy Energy, Renee raps.
She raps very quickly.
Yeah.
That was
we know she can rap very quickly.
Of course we can. We've seen her do it. It's kind of her thing. We've seen it. She's famous for it in some circles. That song, that was kind of a tricky song. It was a song that Meredith had an idea for that song last season, but couldn't find a place to land it last season. So she wanted to be sure we got it in this year. And the idea that, it's going to be an anthem, it's got to be big, because you don't want it to be like, have anything that feels dirty or sexy about it. You want it to be like a big singing thing and singing big notes. The other thing with that song too is that was the episode we knew Daniel was going to be singing, and we wanted to show off his voice. So we knew that we wanted BPE to be very contemporary, have something fast that could rap, but then also big notes so that they could sing it, and so that we could hear Daniel sing big notes at the end, which I think is
I love
so great to hear him singing it.
Yeah,
so joyful.
Yeah, like the end with them around the piano singing is really good.
That's the big payoff, I think, for that. Well, it has its own payoff. Let's face it, it's Big Pussy Energy, but it's but to hear all of them singing that at the end is, particularly him, is so much fun. But yeah, that was a fast rap, and then we knew it could be slower when they sang, so it would all work musically, mathematically work out.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite songs last year was New York Lonely Boy, and I guess mild spoiler, upcoming later this season, I guess a spiritual sequel, New York City Moms.
Yeah, it's kind of a companion piece.
Yeah, but also highly accurate, just like the first one. Yeah.
Right. It's got a lot of. It's very New York specific. It's a list song for the most part. Ingrid sang it for us. She's so great, and it was, another one of those delightful Meredith Scardino plus her writers list of jokes, a list of jokes that we have to kind of shoehorn into some kind of musical structure. But those are super fun. That style is so fun. That'll kind of that kind of almost
it's like folksy,
feist kind of folksy thing is super fun, and it's a good time.
Which song was the most difficult for you guys to just get right for whatever reason?
The hardest one to get right this year, BPE took some wrangling to figure out singing and rapping in ways, but that one, that took a little bit of time to think out, because you knew you didn't want it to be just a thrown away thing, and you knew that because it wasn't something that was just going to be recorded with a track, that they were going to sing a long version of this around the piano, that it took some thought. Although those guys, who are all excellent and fast and theater people as well, those three, Renee, Daniel, and Sarah, came in with, and we just rehearsed it when we camera rehearsed it, and I had sent them a recording the night before, or we'd sent them a recording, and it was late in the day, as all these things are, and they just did it. They're just machines.
They made you guys sound better than maybe you thought you were.
Not even we thought, that we know we are. Like they are extremely talented people, and they always deliver.
So when is the season 2 soundtrack dropping? After the finale?
We're working on it now. I think it's because of this time, the way we are.
It's weekly.
Delivering the episodes. It comes out a little later, but I look around for that.
So fingers crossed for season 3. But what would you like to see next season? What any like early ideas that you guys have discussed? Song ideas?
I'm always looking for Will Chase to come back to do the White Jazz album, but that's just me. So because I think hilarity could ensue with something like that. Now, I don't think I could get. I don't even know what Meredith has up her sleeves yet. But whatever she is, we'll be ready.
Well, since BP was a leftover song from last season, maybe you'll have like a B-side from this season in season 3. Yeah. So I guess we'll circle back to the beginning now. Anything you want to ask Paula Powell?
Paula.
Yeah.
Paula. Let me see. Paula. Oh my God. I don't have anything, Paula. I've known you forever.
Talk about how great she is.
Yeah,
Paula,
thank her for her knee surgery. And this is Lorne Michaels said this about you the other night. I don't know if I should disclose this, but he says, "Oh, she's one of the top 5 funniest people in the world."
There you go.
And I would put you in top 3.
Oh, yeah. That's accurate. Yeah. I would say so too.
I'm gonna. I will today.
You're never wrong. So yeah, you're a genius. As John said.
Ask my DP.
All right, Jeff. It was great speaking with you. Thanks again for your time, and congratulations again on another great season of songs.
Thank you so much, Joyce.